Everyone loves the idea of owning a small business in America. The freedom, the pride, the story you get to tell at dinner parties. You quit the job, you take the risk, you bet on yourself. It feels heroic. It feels like the American dream in its purest form. But here's the part nobody likes to talk about. Most small businesses don't fail because the owner is lazy, stupid, or unlucky. They fail because the game is rigged in ways most people never see until it's too late. And if you're not prepared for that reality, passion alone will destroy you. In the beginning, everything feels electric. You wake up early, you stay up late, you believe that hard work will eventually be rewarded because that's what you were taught. You pour your savings into the business. Sometimes you borrow from family, sometimes you max out credit cards. You tell yourself it's temporary. You convince yourself that once customers find you, once the word spreads, once the sales come in, everything will stabilize. That belief becomes your fuel, but it also becomes your blindfold. The first real problem starts quietly. Cash flow, not profit. Cash flow. You can be busy and still be broke. You can have customers and still not have money. Bills don't care about your vision. Rent doesn't care about your potential. Payroll doesn't wait for your next big opportunity. In America, expenses move fast and they move on schedule. Revenue doesn't. One late payment from a client can knock over your entire month. One slow season can wipe out everything you built. And most small business owners don't understand this until they're already underwater. Then comes the second trap. Doing everything yourself. At first, it feels responsible. You answer the emails, you run the ads, you handle the books, you do the sales calls. You even clean up at the end of the day. You tell yourself this is what real entrepreneurs do. But what you're actually doing is building a job, not a business. A job that never turns off. A job where if you get sick, everything stops. A job where burnout is guaranteed, not optional. And in America, burnout isn't just emotional, it's financial. When you slow down, the business slows down. When the business slows down, the pressure doubles. Marketing becomes another silent killer. Most owners either ignore it or misunderstand it. They think a good product sells itself. They think quality alone is enough. That might have worked decades ago. It doesn't work now. America is loud. Attention is expensive. If people don't know you exist, you don't exist. And the platforms that control attention change constantly. What worked last year might be dead today. So owners either overspend chasing results they don't understand, or they underinvest and slowly disappear. Both paths lead to the same ending. There's also the emotional weight no one prepares you for. The constant decision-making, the fear of making the wrong move, the guilt when you can't pay someone what they deserve, the anxiety when sales dip and you start doing math in your head at 2 a.m. You smile in public. You post motivational quotes, but privately the stress eats at you. In America, failure feels personal. It feels like a reflection of your worth. That pressure makes people cling to bad decisions longer than they should. They don't pivot when they need to. They don't cut losses when they should. They hope their way out of problems that require strategy. Another reason small businesses fail is simple but brutal. They start with passion, not demand. Loving an idea doesn't mean the market cares. America rewards solutions, not emotions. Customers don't buy your story. They buy outcomes. They buy convenience. They buy trust. Many owners fall in love with what they want to sell instead of what people actually need. By the time they realize the difference, they've already invested too much to walk away cleanly. And then there's the system itself. Taxes, regulations, fees, insurance, permits, compliance. None of it is designed to be friendly to beginners. Big companies have teams for this. Small business owners have Google searches and late nights. One mistake can cost thousands. One overlooked rule can shut you down. In America, the margin for error is thin and the penalties are heavy. Most people don't factor this into their plans. They assume they'll figure it out along the way. What makes this even more painful is that from the outside, everything looks fine. You're your own boss, you have a logo, you have a website. People congratulate you for being brave. But behind the scenes, you're constantly reacting instead of building. You're surviving instead of scaling. And survival mode is not sustainable. It drains your creativity, it narrows your thinking. It keeps you trapped in short-term decisions that slowly destroy the long-term future of the business. Small businesses in America don't usually fail in one dramatic moment. They fail quietly, month by month, decision by decision, stress by stress, until one day, the owner realizes they're exhausted, broke, and stuck with responsibilities they can't escape. And the hardest part isn't the money they lost. It's the belief they lost along the way. At some point, reality hits harder than motivation ever could. The sales don't grow the way you imagined. The margins are thinner than expected. Competitors start copying your offers, undercutting your prices. or simply outspending you on ads. In America, competition is ruthless because survival depends on speed and scale. Big players can afford to lose money longer than you can. They negotiate better rates, pay less per click, and absorb mistakes that would destroy a small operation overnight. You're not just competing on quality, you're competing against balance sheets you'll never see. This is where many owners make desperate moves. They drop prices, hoping volume will save them. But volume without margin is a slow death. More customers mean more stress, more refunds, more complaints, more work. You end up working harder for less money, wondering why growth feels like punishment. Or you chase trends that don't fit your business, burning cash on strategies you barely understand because someone on the internet said it worked for them. In moments like this, fear replaces clarity. Decisions are no longer strategic, they're emotional. Another hidden reason small businesses fail is timing. Not talent, not effort, timing. You can be right too early or too late. You can open a great business in the wrong neighborhood. You can launch a smart idea right before consumer behavior shifts. America moves fast, markets change quickly. What people valued last year may not matter today. Small businesses don't have the cushion to wait for conditions to improve. When timing is off, even the best execution struggles to survive. Then there's the issue of pricing confidence. Many small business owners are afraid to charge what they're worth. They think higher prices will scare customers away. In reality, low prices often attract the worst customers, the ones who complain the most, the ones who respect you the least, the ones who drain your time and energy. In America, price signals value. When you undervalue yourself, the market follows your lead. You end up trapped, needing more and more customers just to break even, while your stress compounds. The loneliness is real too. When you work a regular job, failure is shared. When you own a business, it's personal. There's no one to blame, no one to hide behind. You can't fully explain the pressure to friends who clock out at 5. You can't always talk to family without worrying them, so you carry it alone. That isolation makes everything heavier. It makes small problems feel massive. It makes quitting feel like weakness, even when quitting might be the smartest move. Debt becomes another quiet monster. It starts as a tool, a loan to get equipment, a line of credit to manage slow months, a card to cover an unexpected expense. Over time, debt turns into an obligation that dictates your choices. You don't do what's best for the business anymore. You do what keeps the lights on one more month. In America, interest doesn't care about your intentions. It compounds whether you're winning or losing. Many small businesses also fail because they never build systems. Everything lives in the owner's head. Customer relationships. Vendor contacts. Processes. When the owner is overwhelmed, things fall apart. When the owner steps away, revenue drops. A real business can function without its founder every minute. Most small businesses never reach that point. They become fragile. One bad week can undo years of effort. There's also the myth of hustle culture. The belief that grinding harder will solve structural problems. Working 16-hour days doesn't fix broken pricing. Skipping sleep doesn't replace strategy. Sacrifice without direction just accelerates burnout. America celebrates hustle, but it rarely talks about sustainability. And sustainability is what keeps businesses alive when motivation fades. Eventually, warning signs appear. You dread checking your bank account. You avoid opening emails. You stop planning long-term because the future feels uncertain. The joy that once drove you is replaced by obligation. At this stage, many owners already know the truth. They just don't want to face it. They keep going because stopping feels like failure. But staying stuck can be more expensive than walking away. What most people don't realize is that failure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It's choosing comfort over change. It's refusing to adapt because adaptation feels like admitting you were wrong. In America, ego quietly kills more small businesses than competition ever will. The final stage rarely looks like collapse. It looks like acceptance. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer building anything. You're maintaining damage. You're managing decline. The business still exists on paper, but the dream is gone. What's left is responsibility without reward, pressure without progress. And that's the moment many people finally ask the question they avoided for years. How did it come to this? The truth is uncomfortable. Most small businesses in America are built on hope instead of structure. Hope that customers will come. Hope that costs won't rise. Hope that effort will eventually turn into stability. But hope is not a strategy. Big companies don't run on hope. They run on data, systems, leverage, and discipline. Small businesses that survive learn this early. The ones that don't learn it too late. Another reason failure becomes inevitable is refusal to let go of control. Owners tie their identity to the business. It becomes who they are, not just what they do. Every decision feels emotional. Every criticism feels personal. That mindset blocks growth. You can't scale what you can't delegate. You can't improve what you refuse to question. In America, adaptability is oxygen. Without it, businesses suffocate slowly. There's also a brutal mismatch between risk and reward. Small business owners take enormous personal risk, financial risk, emotional risk, time risk, but the upside is often capped. One lawsuit, one regulatory change, one platform update can erase years of effort. Meanwhile, large corporations diversify risk and protect downside. This imbalance is rarely discussed, but it shapes outcomes more than motivation ever will. What finally breaks most businesses isn't one big mistake. It's a series of small compromises. You delay fixing a problem because you're tired. You accept bad clients because you need cash. You lower standards because you don't have energy to fight. Each compromise feels harmless. Together, they hollow out the business from the inside. By the time you notice, recovery is expensive and exhausting. And yet, the biggest tragedy isn't the business failing. Businesses are just vehicles. The real loss is the person behind it. The confidence that erodes, the trust in yourself that weakens, the fear that follows you into the next opportunity. In America, failure is common, but we don't talk enough about its emotional aftershock. People don't just lose money, they lose momentum. But here's the part that matters. Most small businesses don't fail because success is impossible. They fail because the rules were never clearly explained. They fail because no one taught owners how to think like operators instead of dreamers. They fail because reality hits before readiness. When you understand this, the story changes. Failure becomes information, not identity. The businesses that survive aren't always the smartest or the most passionate. They are the most honest. Honest about numbers, honest about limits. Honest about when to pivot, when to pause, and when to walk away. They build boring systems that protect cash. They price with confidence. They choose sustainability over ego. They treat the business like a machine, not a personal diary. America still rewards entrepreneurship, but only when it's paired with realism. The dream is not dead, it's just misunderstood. Owning a small business isn't about freedom at the start. It's about discipline first, clarity second, and freedom last. When people skip those steps, failure fills the gap. Most small businesses fail not because the owners weren't strong enough, but because they were never shown how brutal the game really is. And once you see the game clearly, you stop blaming yourself and you start making better decisions.